question I'm sure all the supporters will be asking is, what happened?
We didn't turn up, got beaten up. Didn't do the basics of the game, which we normally do well. Didn't do any part of it very well. So that put us on the back foot, and then we didn't pass the ball particularly well. And basically, like every department of the game, we didn't do very well, and that's why we get a result like that. We've generally done it well all season. It's the first time we've been beaten up this season. And sort of the third goal sort of encapsulated probably the night's performance, which is disappointing because it was on the biggest stage. But you have to suck it up and learn from it.
All season, you've been incredibly consistent. 6 defeats in the regulation league season, not lost a game by more than 1 goal. Can you explain on a night like this why it happened?
Yeah, we didn't do the basics well enough. There's no getting away from it. They play in a very basic way, but they do it very effectively. I'm not going to say there's a certain way to play. Play to your strengths, and they did it. I thought Oliver was a handful. Callum Morton never stopped running all game, and they did it better than us. There's no getting away from it.
Can you explain what happened to your team tonight?
Other than taking a backward step, no. I think maybe a few throws on the night. But fundamentals, I think in the first 10-15 minutes, I'm not sure we want to tackle. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think the referee helped the situation because every time we got the ball, they got the player. And I think it took him 93 minutes before he actually booked somebody for an offence like that. But it wasn't the referee's fault that we got beat 3-0 today. It was, they deserved it.
When you look at the game, would you say it was Northampton played very well and you didn't play so well?
Absolutely. There's nothing that don't change the way they play. We don't try and change, we just didn't deliver any part of what we do. Like I said, we're normally resilient, organised, and play. And we didn't. I keep repeating myself. We didn't. It was pretty obvious. We didn't turn up.
What have you said to the players in the dressing room?
It's a difficult one because it's the last time you're going to see them now. Because it's so when people walk out of the dressing room, we don't see again. And the ultimate feeling is they're all they're devastated. That's a year's work that. So there's been blood, sweat, and tears. So it's difficult to reflect on it positively. But if you take where we've been and where we are now, we're disappointed that we've not just got to Wembley. So I think it shows the work that's gone in. And it's been a good season, absolutely no doubt about that. I just finished 4th in the league. So it's mixed emotions as much as anything because the players aren't listening to me. I've not spoken to them for too long now. I could talk for 5 minutes or 5 seconds. They're not really listening to me at this moment. It's just getting them to recognise, particularly the younger ones, these opportunities don't come around very often. And it's difficult and you do have to suck it up, reflect, think what could you have done differently, and we'll be doing the same as a staff. Could we have picked a different team? Could we have changed the shape earlier? There's all sorts of different things that I'm sure I'll watch the game back and I'll see different things. But ultimately, if you don't head it and kick it as much as they do, it's difficult. It doesn't matter what formation, what patterns, all that sort of stuff. You're never going to have the ball.
Does it make it particularly galling for you? This is game 38, if you like, in the season. If it happened in game 3 or game 4, well, it might have mattered less. But the very biggest game, what's happened?
I don't think it really matters. I mean, what's done is done now. There's not a lot. Well, you can't do anything about it. So we've had a couple of off days, but we've not had many. And it is, like I say, on the biggest stage. That's the disappointment at home as well. I think he got some price from 3-0. One thing I'd always fancied to do is score a goal, but we never really looked like scoring a goal other than the last 10-15 minutes. So yeah, it's disappointing.
Is there any part of you right now that can say we still had a very good season?
Yeah, listen, it is what it is. I'm obviously devastated with what's just gone on, what we just watched, because it's frustrating, because it's like, well, what's going on? That's not our team. How can you change it? What can you do? But ultimately, there's not a person in this town that wouldn't have taken this season. So the hard bit now will be trying to replicate it, because people expect you to finish in the, where we are budget-wise, club size. People automatically think, oh, well, we're not in the playoffs next year. It'll be disappointing. That's going to be the difficult part, is managing expectation, because you normally finish where your money tells you. we've had a very good season, best season the club's had for a long time. So it's not resting on your laurels. It's right. How do we get to where we are now, and can we do it again? You know, some big clubs coming down, people like Bolton. So it's going to be difficult. There'll be a lot of travelling next year. I know that.
Where do you go from now with the players who are out of contract?
Oh, I think we need to let them know by tomorrow. So obviously I'll be having conversations now with the club, as in, because we know what league we're going to be in, so I need to get an idea of what the budget's going to be, and speak to the out-of-contract players.
Michael, on behalf of all the Cheltenham fans, thank you for the season and commiserations tonight.
Cheers, mate.
Michael, you said obviously you could see that you're getting beaten up a little bit. When there's been quite a few times this season where you spotted something going a little bit wrong tactically, you've been able to tweak it, but can you do anything about that when they're just getting the better of you physically? Is there anything you can do as a manager?
Well, I don't want to blame the players. It is difficult because we did try and tweak a few things. Halfway through the first half, we stopped bringing a little bit more out on the right rather than the 10, and he found a few pockets in there. But like you said, it's hard to run and head, and sometimes you just have those days. And we always knew that the quick turnaround in games, how people reacted, there could have been a mental fatigue in there. It's not the players weren't trying. It was not like the players weren't motivated. So sometimes things happen, and once it starts unravelling, it's difficult to try and reverse it. And like I said, the third goal was just an anomaly. And that's the difficult one to take, because the goals we conceded aren't goals we particularly concede. If that makes sense.
Yeah, we don't normally let many in at all, but you haven't given many away, have you? You haven't presented many as a gift like you did with the third.
And that's credit to the players. Like I said, this is not the moment now to start blaming different people. They've all got here as a group. They're all disappointed as a group as well, and that's the staff as well, and the supporters will be as well. But it's dust yourself down, reflect on a year's work. Like I repeat, there's been a lot of work on it from lots of people, and even just to get this on, the amount of work that's gone on with the faces in the crowd, the support that the supporters have shown us has been brilliant, and I'm trying to get a bit of positivity in my voice. I'm struggling to do that, but I think we'll all come back better for it as individuals.
Yeah, it's always going to be disappointing losing the playoff game, but how difficult is it when you've waited 3 months for the game to come along, a bit of uncertainty of whether it's actually going to happen or not, everything happens very quickly, and then tomorrow you've got to tell players whether they're being offered contracts or not, and everything's sort of fast forward, isn't it? All of a sudden.
That's just the world we're in. This would have had to let players know even when we got to the final. Should have had to let players know one way or the other, even though we still had a game to go. So it's just the next part now is the tough side of football. This is you make connections with people, you get emotionally invested with people, and sometimes it's finances, sometimes you want to move in a different direction. So that's the tough part of the job, particularly after an evening like tonight.
How much is still uncertain, because you don't know exactly when crowds are going to be able to come back in. You now know you're going to be in League Two, but is there still a lot in there budget-wise?
I need to find out from the board. That's what I need to find. I need to get an idea of where we're going to be at financially. So, like you said, it is going to be a quick process now, and this is we'll do what we think is right. Same as last year. There was difficult decisions to make last year. You look at people like Jordan Forster and Tyrone Barnett and people like that, and they were difficult. But we felt it was the right thing. We don't always get it right. Didn't get it right tonight. So we'll have to just do what we can and see where we go from here.
How much better will you be as a manager for what's happened this season over as a whole?
Well, it was my first season of management, so I'm bound to have learned loads. I'll reflect on particularly this period now. I've had quite a few people saying you'll be a better manager for it, but the problem is no one knew how we were going to be better or what we'd have done different. So I'm sure there's a couple of things I'd have done differently tonight, but I just didn't see that performance coming. The performance in training, they've not looked leggy, they've looked at it, they've been together. So that's the frustration that you didn't see it coming.
Did you ever think you were going to get back into the game once they maybe went 2-0? Did you ever see sort of a glimmer of hope before the
third
one?
I did. Even at 2-0, if we went to extra time, I'd have fancied his legs wise. Obviously, we waited to go 3-0 down, and then we flipped it, changed it again. Obviously, the 4-4-2. We had moments, there's things just not quite dropping. We did have a couple of moments, but ultimately, it wasn't enough to. Didn't create enough for the home team tonight.